very dramatic shift. In earlier periods, we had battles between the power of religion to incite recovery and the power of self, particularly humanism. The Washingtonians got accused of the sin of humanism because they put their own power above the power of Jesus, in the Christian days of the temperance movement. AA, for the first time, charted a pathway right between those and completely avoided those two arguments, although it surfaced a bit lately. And what they did was they began to posit a spiritual framework of long-term recovery that was not a religious nor was it a secular framework. So this notion of spirituality as sort of the essence of recovery was fairly innovative at that time. The other thing that happened was AA was very fortunate that Bill Wilson had writing skills, which Dr. Bob had none of. Bill Wilson would write lengthy letters to Bob, and Bob would respond on a prescription pad, 2 sentences. So if we were waiting for the literature to come from Akron, we were in serious trouble here. But Bill Wilson had the ability to begin to collectively extract from the experience of those first sober members and say what? These are the steps suggested, and on, right? And really codify that. This is 1939, and Bill's 100. Bill was always a little grandiose. They didn't have 100 members yet in 1939. But my point is they got what the essence of this program was before they underwent rapid growth, which meant what? They found a way to protect the program from corruption by codifying these very clear principles. And then when it looked like in the 1940s that AA could virtually disintegrate from within, you began to see a similar codification by way of the traditions that will come to govern AA and many of the other 12-step programs. They maintained their closed meeting structure, which many of the earlier groups gave up with. What they understood was the essence of this initial engagement in recovery is a process of mutual identification. And we do that through a process of what? We don't give advice, we tell our stories. And suddenly I identify my life in your story and vice versa. So this importance of mutual identification and the credentials, there were no educational credentials that you could get you into AA. There were no scientific credentials. The only credential that was required had to be an experiential credential. And it was presented not in the form of, here's my resume, but here's my story. Very, very innovative. Unique organizational structure that everyone outside of recovering alcoholics close to AA in the 1930s and 40s swore that AA was doomed to self-destruction, that it was a non-organization. I mean, it's anarchy. How on earth could this thing